Well, earlier in the season, Sue was out giving us some pointers on thinning peaches and the importance of thinning peaches. And now that peaches are getting ripe, then we can see how this thinning really pays off. Here are some of the areas that has been thinned on this tree, and you can see by spacing these peaches out, we've really gotten some size on them. That's allowed the peach to develop, and it's allowed the foliage on this peach tree to help ensure that this fruit does enlarge in size and actually add to the quality of it because of the color and the beauty of the fruit. If you look at some of the areas that have not been thinned, you can really see a difference. For example, here's a limb right next to it that has not been thinned, and you can see the difference in the size of these peaches here. They're still quite small. And even up in the tree here, we have another area where it wasn't thinned any at all, and you can really see the difference there because, as you see, not only are those fruit very, very small, but the limb has also broken. And so because of that, we're going to have to come in later on and prune that limb out and try to repair that area. But let's take a minute or two to talk about harvesting peaches. In order for a peach to have its really peak of flavor, it should mature or ripen on the tree. And one of the ways that we can tell if this peach is ripe is to observe the ground color. The ground color is that color that is slightly underneath the skin, not the bright red color that you see on the outer edge, but the color underneath. And when this ground color on yellow-fleshed peaches begins to turn a buttery or creamy yellow color, or on white-fleshed peaches turns a bright white color, then you know that fruit is getting close to maturity. And then you can gently feel or press the fruit, and if the skin is very slightly soft to the touch, then you can remove the fruit from the tree and you know that it's ready to harvest. There's nothing much more flavorful than a peach that has been allowed to ripen on the tree, nor there's nothing much more disappointing than picking a peach too early while it's still hard and when those flavors have not developed. When we're picking our peaches, one of the things we want to be sure and do is handle them very carefully. In fact, they bruise so easily that sometimes you want to handle them almost like they're eggs. And as you put them into the container, try to have a container that is soft or something that's not real hard and rigid, and just lay them in the container with only maybe just a few slight, or just a few peaches in the container so that they don't bruise or lay on top of each other too heavy. If you have a container that isn't something like cardboard, or maybe you're using a basket or a box, it might be a good idea then to line that box or basket with paper or with some sort of a soft material so that you can lay the peaches in there very gently and not bruise them. Then as soon as you harvest your peaches, you want to take them in to cold storage and get them out of the heat. Peaches do best if they're stored at a relatively low temperature, slightly above 32 degrees Fahrenheit. In fact, somewhere between about the mid-30s to the mid-40s is a good temperature to store peaches, and they'll store for several days up to a couple of weeks at this temperature, so you can enjoy peaches in for a long period of time. Well, another point that I might bring out on peaches now that we're beginning to harvest them is that even though we have tried to do a very good job of spraying and controlling our insects and diseases this year, because we've had so much rain and because this tree particularly was so loaded and we didn't get good coverage on our spray sometime, and also because the humidity was so high, we do have a little bit of a disease showing up called brown rot. Now you may see this on your own tree or on other trees where you're doing some harvesting on some pick your own peaches around the state. Brown rot is a fungus disease. It is controlled through the use of a fungicide such as Captan as a preventive method during a regular spray program. But we just simply sometimes can't get as good a job on control of this as we'd like to, like I say, because of the weather conditions. But you do want to go ahead and remove these peaches from the tree because these will go ahead and mummify. In fact, here's one right here that has been seriously infected with brown rot, and you can see how it's gone ahead and actually mummified or shriveled up here. This will hang on the tree and be a source of brown rot infection for next year. So as you're picking your peaches or you're out here observing your trees and you see these instances of brown rot, go ahead and pick those off, put them in a bag or somehow dispose of them and get them out of your orchard so they won't be such a source of infection. We hope you can enjoy peaches. You know, one of the beauties and the joys of having a home fruit orchard is that you can have this fresh fruit throughout the season. This particular peach variety here is Red Haven. It's just now reaching its peak of ripeness. We have some other varieties in the orchard that haven't even begun to show any change in color yet, so it's going to be several weeks before they become ripe. So we're going to be able to enjoy peaches for a long period of time. And I want to encourage you, if you don't have peaches in your home orchard, to get out and sort of scout around. Look at the farmers markets, or look at orchards in your neighborhood or in your area to see if there are pick your own orchards, and enjoy Oklahoma peaches because they're really, really good this year in Oklahoma.